I yelled, "I regret saying yes to you," right in his face, and now that same ring is on another woman's finger. A woman who actually meant it when she said yes. I'm Lakeitha Jones, 28. And I swear I never thought I'd be that girl posting wineglass selfies with captions about finding myself, while my ex moved on faster than a paycheck on bill day. It all started last summer when Draymond got down on one knee at my cousin's wedding reception. The DJ had just put on that Bruno Mars song everybody uses for proposals, and before I knew it, the whole room went quiet. There he was, pulling out this little velvet box with a ring that honestly looked bigger than what we could afford. I remember thinking, is this man serious right now? But everyone was staring. My mama was already crying, and I felt like the spotlight operator at a concert was beaming down on just me. So I said yes. I said yes even though we'd been fighting all week about him spending our rent money on new Jordans. I said yes even though I'd caught him texting his baby mama Shaniqua at 2 a.m. a month earlier about needing to talk. I said yes because my cousin Tamika had just dropped $30,000 on this wedding. And I wasn't about to be the one who ruined the vibe with an awkward rejection. I said yes because all my girls were getting engaged or having babies, and my biological clock wasn't just ticking, it was practically screaming through a megaphone. The pictures from that night got more likes than anything I'd ever posted. My ring selfie. You know, the one with the blurry background. And your hand, looking like it belongs to someone else, got almost 1,000 likes. My phone was blowing up with, "Congratulations, girl." And finally, like I'd accomplished something big instead of just agreeing to marry the guy I'd been with for 3 years. My mama called me crying again, saying how proud she was that I wasn't going to end up alone like my Aunt Keisha, who has 7 cats and talks to them like they're people. But that night, lying in bed while Draymond snored loud enough to wake the neighbors, I stared at that ring, feeling like it was choking my finger. I kept thinking about our apartment that was too small, his credit score that was too low, and how he still hadn't finished that certification program he swore would get him a better job. I thought about how he spent money we didn't have, how his homeboys always came first, and how we couldn't go a week without arguing about something stupid. The next morning, I woke up with this pit in my stomach. I looked at Draymond, drool on his pillow and all, and thought, is this really it for me? Forever? But I pushed that feeling down because canceling an engagement is way more embarrassing than never getting engaged at all. Plus, we'd already started getting those save the date messages from family asking when the big day was happening. Weeks went by, and instead of getting excited about wedding plans, I was getting irritated every time Draymond breathed too loud. He'd ask about venue ideas, and I'd snap that I was too busy. He'd show me pictures of wedding cakes his sister sent, and I'd roll my eyes so hard they nearly fell out my head. Every time my girlfriends wanted to go dress shopping, I'd make up some excuse about needing to work overtime. Draymond kept trying, bless his heart. He started coming home with bridal magazines, setting up Pinterest boards, and talking about what songs should play at the reception. Meanwhile, I was Googling, "How long is too long for an engagement?" and signs you're making a huge mistake when he wasn't looking. Every time my mama called asking about wedding plans, I'd change the subject faster than kids running from vegetables. The ring felt heavier every day. I started taking it off at work, telling myself it was because I didn't want to lose it. I'd forget to put it back on, and Draymond would notice, his face falling like a kid who just dropped his ice cream. I'd make excuses about my fingers swelling or it needing to be resized, but deep down I knew. I just wasn't ready to admit it to myself, let alone to him or my family, who were all so happy I'd finally found someone willing to put up with me. My grandma's exact words at Sunday dinner. Things got worse when we finally set a date. The 15th of October. Suddenly, everything was real, and I was drowning in wedding talk. My mama had already called 50 times about dresses, venues, and how my cousin Kiara's wedding had lobster, so ours needed to have steak and lobster. Meanwhile, Draymond was hyped about everything. The tux, the honeymoon, even the stupid little gift bags for guests. His excitement made me want to scream. I started finding reasons to fight. If Draymond was 5 minutes late coming home, I'd accuse him of seeing other women. When he tried to help with wedding plans, I'd snap that he was doing it wrong. I'd roll my eyes when he talked about our future house and kids, making comments like, "If we even make it that far." Every time he touched me, I'd find an excuse: headache, tired, period, anything to avoid intimacy. Poor man probably thought I had the longest period in medical history. My bridesmaids noticed. Linnea pulled me aside at her apartment one night after I'd spent 20 minutes complaining about how Draymond chewed too loud. "Girl, why you even marrying him if you hate everything he does?" I didn't have an answer that didn't sound pathetic. I just shrugged and blamed it on wedding stress, like that explained why I was acting like he was the worst person alive. Draymond tried everything to make me happy. Surprise dinner dates, weekend getaways, even couples therapy, which I sabotaged by giving one-word answers and checking my phone the whole time. The therapist, Dr. Powell, saw right through me. "Lakaitha, do you actually want to get married?" she asked, point blank in our third session. I mumbled something about just having doubts, while Draymond looked at me like I'd slapped him. But instead of breaking things off like a grown woman, I did something worse. I stayed while making us both miserable. I'd ignore his calls, then blow up at him for not checking in enough. I'd spend money we were saving for the wedding on new shoes, then blame him for our budget being tight. One night I even flirted with his friend Jarrell right in front of him, then played innocent when Draymond called me out. The breaking point came 3 months before the wedding. We were at the venue, this cute rustic barn that cost more than my car, finalizing details with the wedding planner. A skinny white lady named Bethany who kept calling us "you guys" in this super peppy voice. Draymond was excited about everything, from the fairy lights to the dance floor. Meanwhile, I was finding problems with it all: too expensive, too far from town, too cliché. Bethany asked about our first dance song, and Draymond immediately said, "At Last" by Etta James, all proud like he'd solved world hunger. It was the song playing when we first met at my girl Zaria's birthday party. Any other time, I might have found it sweet, but that day, it lit my fuse. "Really, Draymond? That tired old song everyone uses? Why don't we just get the chicken dance and the electric slide while we're being basic?" My voice was louder than I intended. Bethany's eyes went wide, and she mumbled something about checking on another client before speed walking away in her little beige heels. Draymond's face did that thing, jaw tight, eyes hurt but trying not to show it. "What's your problem, Keitha? You've been acting like this wedding is torture for months. If you got something to say, just say it." And that's when it happened. Like a dam breaking, all my bottled up feelings came flooding out. "You want to know my problem? My problem is I don't want this. Any of it." I yanked the ring off my finger and threw it at him. It bounced off his chest and fell somewhere in the decorative hay bales. "I regret saying yes to you." There, I said it. The silence after was deafening. Draymond just stared at me, not even blinking, like he was seeing me for the first time. Then, without a word, he got down on his knees and started searching through the hay for the ring. I stood there, chest heaving, waiting for him to yell back to fight, but he didn't. He just found the ring, pocketed it, and walked out. I didn't go after him. Instead, I called an Uber and went to my girl Shanice's place, where I spent the night convincing myself I'd done the right thing. He was holding me back anyway. I told her through tears and wine I wasn't ready to settle down. Shanice just nodded, but I could tell she wasn't buying what I was selling. The next week was a blur of cancellation calls, the venue, the caterer, the DJ. Every conversation started with, "I'm calling about the Williams-Jones wedding," and ended with me transferring deposits to Draymond's account. He wouldn't talk to me directly. Everything went through his sister Aaliyah, who didn't bother hiding how she felt. "You did him a favor?" she said when picking up his things from our apartment. "He deserves better than someone who was never all in." Those words stung more than I expected, but I brushed them off, telling myself I was finally free. No more pretending to be excited about forever with someone I wasn't sure about. No more faking it. I threw myself into rediscovering myself: new hair, new clothes, girls' nights out. I posted more in those first 2 weeks than I had all year. Living my best life, and sometimes you gotta choose yourself captions under pictures of me smiling with cocktails. looking like I'd escaped prison instead of a relationship with a man who actually loved me. My mama wasn't speaking to me. "You had a good man, Lakeitha," she said the one time I got her on the phone. "A man with a job who wanted to marry you, and you threw it away like it was nothing." My friends were splitsome, taking my side, saying if I wasn't feeling it, better to end it now than later. Others gave me the side eye, especially those who knew Draymond well. The only person who seemed to understand was my cousin Deja. "Marriage ain't for everybody," she said over brunch one Sunday. "Better to hurt him now than divorce him later." I clung to that logic like a life raft, repeating it to myself whenever doubt crept in, whenever I'd wake up at 3 a.m. wondering if I'd made a mistake. For a while it worked. I convinced myself I was happier alone. I focused on work, got that promotion I'd been eyeing, started talking to this fine trainer at my gym named Kendrick. Nothing serious, just attention to fill the void. Life was looking up, and I almost never thought about Draymond. Almost. Then came that fateful Saturday morning, 4 months after our breakup. I was scrolling through Instagram, coffee in hand, when I saw it. A post from Draymond's cousin Marquis. "Congrats to the future Mr. and Mrs. Williams." The picture showed Draymond down on one knee in front of a woman I recognized as Imani Washington, a girl he knew from college, who'd always been just a friend. And on her finger, my ring. The same princess-cut diamond with the twisted band that had felt so heavy on my hand was now sparkling on hers. I nearly dropped my phone in the toilet. My heart raced, my palms got sweaty, and this weird noise came out of my throat, something between a gasp and a scream. I couldn't stop staring at the picture. They were at the botanical gardens, surrounded by purple flowers. Her face was lit up with happiness, real happiness, not the forced smile I'd worn in our engagement photos. And Draymond? He was looking at her like she was the sun, moon, and stars all wrapped up in one person. I kept scrolling, masochistically hunting for more details. There were dozens of comments, congratulations from friends and family, heart emojis, wedding bell gifts. Even my cousin Tamika had liked it. The betrayal. But what really sent me over the edge was Imani's comment. 1,000 times yes. I've waited my whole life for you. And Draymond's reply. The wait is finally over. Forever starts now. Gag me. But why was I so upset? Wasn't this what I wanted? To be free of Draymond and his marriage plans? Yet here I was, feeling like someone had punched me in the stomach. I called Shanice immediately, barely letting her say hello before I was rambling. Can you believe this? 4 months. It took him 4 months to propose to someone else, with my ring, the one I picked out. This was a lie. He'd chosen it himself, but that detail didn't matter now. He clearly never loved me if he moved on this fast. Shanice was quiet for a long moment before saying what no one had been brave enough to say. But you're the one who ended it, Keitha. You literally threw the ring at him and said you regretted saying yes. Her words hit me like cold water. She was right, of course. But admitting that meant admitting I'd made a mistake, and I wasn't ready for that. Instead, I spent the weekend stalking Imani's social media, piecing together their relationship timeline. Apparently, they'd reconnected at a mutual friend's birthday 2 months after our breakup. There were pictures of them hiking, at restaurants, at a concert. She had a good job as a pediatric nurse. Her apartment was Pinterest perfect. She even volunteered with rescue dogs on weekends. Basically, she was everything I wasn't. The more I learned, the more obsessed I became. I found myself creating scenarios in my head. Maybe she was just a rebound. Maybe he was only with her to make me jealous. Maybe the ring was fake. But deep down, I knew. Draymond had moved on, and from the looks of it, he'd upgraded.